right, there we go. All right, good morning, evening, afternoon, guys. Welcome to our Sunday webinar session. This is a chance for our Telegram group members and normal group coaching students to get a little extra practice in. I thought for today we could take a look at, surprise, surprise, a poem and kind of just identify some sections to practice saying out loud, paying attention to all the regular stuff like placement, pitch, breath, and trying to weaken consonant sounds, as well as linking, reductions, stress patterns, all the fun stuff we need to sound natural in American English pronunciation. Allow me a moment to share my screen with you. All right, can you see this okay?
Yeah. Is this a poem or a story?
It's a poem. This is a poem called Indigo by Ellen Bass. Now, it is a narrative-based poem with some lyric elements. Give me 1 second to get my marker.
So what's the difference between a narrative-based poem and, I don't know, narration?
Oh, between narrative-based poem and narrative. I mean, there's things you can do in a poem narratively that you can't necessarily do in prose and vice versa. In general, poems are going to require you to be a little bit more condensed and to kind of identify specific moments that are going after the specific meaning you're trying to convey and kind of highlight those. Whereas, like, going over every single little detail, But there are some, again, narrative-based poems will have some similarities with prose to a degree. So what I'd like you to do, I want you to look through this and identify a little section that you would like to practice saying out loud. And Emmanuel, whenever you're ready, I'll start with you.
Okay. So, as I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs towards me, pushing one of them jogging strollers with shock absorbers so the baby can keep sleeping, which this baby is.
Okay. Let's maybe, we could probably highlight from as down to sleeping. Were you trying to express agitation or frustration?
I don't know, I felt like I was telling a story, so I was walking on down. No, to me, that's what it felt like.
I don't disagree. But in turn, what's the emotion you wanted to convey? Because the emotion I got from that was you were not happy.
No.
No,
Look, a man run towards me pushing one of them jogging strollers, If a man walks up to you and just starts pushing that jogging strollers, I'm going to be happy.
that bothers you. If someone comes towards you with a stroller.
Stroller?
A stroller.
Stroller, yeah.
Okay. So you want to convey a little bit of annoyance.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, I think that came across, so that's good. Let's maybe break it down a little bit. Can you give me some thought groups here?
So as I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, after drive,
Okay.
a man runs toward me after me.
Okay.
Pushing one of those jogging strollers with, and then shock absorbers so the baby can keep sleeping. After sleeping, and then which this baby is.
Okay. I'll pause us on sleeping. And what words do you want to stress in each of these thought groups?
A drive for the first one.
Okay.
And then for the second one, runs toward me. I want to just toward.
Okay.
Jogging. I think it's a compound noun, so I think that
Yes.
was jogging.
Good call.
Shock. It's a compound
Okay.
noun.
It is. Yes. Okay. Can you read this for me again with these stresses in mind?
Okay. As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me, pushing one of those jogging strollers with shock absorbers so the baby can keep sleeping.
Okay. So, a couple things here that I think made the rhythm feel a little less natural. The first thing is I think the stress words are a little overstressed. I'll try to give an example of what I'm hearing. As I walk on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me, pushing one of those jogging strollers with shock absorbers. Do you see how heavy the stresses kind of appear in every single
Yeah,
sentence?
that's exactly how I said it, yeah.
Okay. So watch out for that because in general with stress words, we don't need them to be that so emphasized. And then the other thing too was the pitch. Again, a basic concept I want everyone to really be practicing is as you change the thought group, you gotta change the pitch level. Change the thought group, change the pitch, change the thought group, change the pitch. One other thing I'll say is I'm looking at these first two thought groups. And again, we're thinking of contrast. English really likes contrast. English really likes it when you switch things up. It doesn't like it when we fall into patterns. And one of the things that's kind of happening with your stresses is that we're starting off two thought groups where our stress both times is falling towards the end, right? As I'm walking Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me. So part of the reason I think we ended up with that kind of bobbing pattern is because each of these sentences is following a very regular pattern in terms of where the stress is falling. So I'm going to adjust one of your stresses, and I want to see if that might help some. So instead of doing toward, let's try seeing what it sounds like if we stress man. So now what's going to happen is we'll have a stress at the end of a thought group with drive, and then a stress at the beginning of a thought group with man. Can you read this again for me?
As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me.
Go lower pitch on me. We're getting there. I like it better, but I think we have to go lower on me. It's not man runs toward me. No, it's more man runs toward me. A man runs toward me.
A man runs toward me.
Try that, the first two thought groups again.
As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me.
I like that a lot more.
Okay.
I like that rhythm a lot. I see David nodding as well. I think David likes it a little bit more too. Okay. Because I'll read it two ways just so you guys can kind of compare. As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me. As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me. Hear a difference?
Yeah. I don't know. I just want to stress toward. Like it runs toward me, not away from me. So I wasn't thinking of that. I was just thinking, okay, the word toward must be important.
So let's before I switch over to David, let's play with one other thing then. Let's maybe keep the stress on toward. But maybe instead of drive, let's switch it up here. Let's try walking. Can you read that for me?
As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me.
Okay. And compare that to where we started. Like as I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me. As I'm walking on Westcliff Drive, a man runs toward me.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Okay. Questions for me on just like stress stuff.
So you have to stress certain things so the pattern can sound natural so we avoid that bobbing effect.
I mean, what I would say is you could make the original stresses work. I think if you vary enough your pitch, maybe incorporate some pauses and things like that, change up the pace a little bit more. There's ways you can make anything work. But what I would approach it as instead is that if you're saying something and you feel like this isn't sounding natural, by switching up the placement of your stress, that may help.
Because it kind of felt that way.
Can
Exactly
you
when it kind of felt that it didn't sound naturally. Like I knew exactly what you're gonna say. I knew that the rhythm was gonna be like predictable, like dun, 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 dun.
I
Yeah.
mean, as soon as you start getting comfortable and predictable with the pattern, that's your body telling you to switch things up. English doesn't like patterns; it really likes pattern disrupts. So we really want to um, change things.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna slide over to David. David, thanks for your patience. Is there a section here that you want to take a look at?
I'm so jealous as I often am. It's a kind of obsession. I know I should go like further or not.
I think there's a lot to kind
Yeah.
of even just play with there. Okay, can you read that again for me?
I'm so jealous as often I am. Oh, sorry. I'm so jealous as often I am. As I often am. It's a kind of obsession.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you again for where you would like your thought groups to go.
Um, First down to jealous, then to am, and after that, well,
Okay, okay. I do want you to continue working on that a sound plus nasal, like that am. Can you say am for me, David? Am.
um,
Am.
am.
I want you to continue. We've talked about this in the classes before. I want you to look at previous streams, okay?
How does it feel like when you hear it? Like it's silly
It doesn't
or
sound
just
silly. It's just accented. Like it's just you're not in general going to hear native speakers pronouncing it that way.
okay?
It's just slightly off. But it's understandable. Like people aren't going to confuse you. Um, okay, can you read that first thought group again for me?
I'm so jealous.
You're stressed and jealous.
Yeah,
Okay. What are you stressing in the next thought group?
often, as I often am. As I
You know that can work. I don't want to say it's wrong. I think that am is probably more likely stress. I think a lot of times if you end a sentence on a verb,
hmm
the verb tends to get stressed. Okay. It's not often that verbs get stressed. Very often verbs are not stressed. Um, but one time where I think verbs are more frequently get stressed, end of a sentence, because it's very punchy to end a sentence on a verb.
as I often am. Yeah,
Hmm.
I agree.
So I recommend stressing am personally.
Okay.
I think that'll also make the sentence a little easier to say because I know that that's a little section that we were kind of stumbling over a lot.
Yeah,
As often no as I often right.
as I
Um,
often am. Yeah.
okay. And then how about that last thought group? What do you want to stress?
It's a kind of obsession. I stress kind, I think, when I said it those couple times.
I want you to stress kind and I want you to stress obsession. Like try alternating between them and tell me which one you like more.
It's a kind of obsession.
And say it the other
It's
way.
a kind of obsession. Yet the first one sounds more natural.
You like obsession better?
Yeah.
I think obsession would be kind of often is used as like a qualifier. Um, a lot of times what appears after it, it tends to be stressed. Like it's kind of hard or it's kind of easy or he's kind of slow. Like typically it's whatever comes
Hmm.
after it. Okay. All right. With those stresses in mind, can you read that section again for me? I'm down to obsession.
I'm so jealous, as I often am. It's kind of a it's a kind of obsession.
I really like the emotion you conveyed in that first one, that
Okay.
first thought group, and I don't know if we maintain it.
I'm so jealous, as I often am. It's a kind of obsession.
Okay, I like some of the things you're doing. So you're kind of starting off very firm and strong. Like I'm so jealous, um, as I often am. And then I think something that can even amplify that more is when you get to your final thought group. Um, we've been talking a lot about contrast. I think this is a good opportunity for contrast. And I think you're using some of it. You're going lower in pitch. Okay, so you're going lower in pitch. I would even say double down, go
Okay.
even lower and softer, especially as you get to the end. Like obsession. Like go real soft on that shin at the end. Try that out.
Obsession. Okay. I'm so jealous, as I often am. It's kind of. It's a kind of obsession.
Can you read that again? I want you to experiment with pause because you're adding a lot of elements of contrast, as I often am. That's higher pitch. It's kind of obsession. Then you use a lower pitch, and then you're also adding this pause, and then you're also going super slow. So you're adding all these elements, which can work. I want to see what it sounds like if we don't have that pause between am and it's.
Am and is.
It's. Try not to pause
Uh,
between the fuckers.
I'm so jealous, as I often am. It's kind of a obsession.
I like that more. Where it kind of just runs together and then you slow down. Like as I often am. It's a kind of like I think that's a natural sort of progression there, and not something that you do a lot in your normal speech, David. So that would be something I would
Yeah.
kind of be checking out in the replay because I think could be powerful for
I
you.
do it one time.
Yeah.
One more. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so jealous, as I often am, and it's a kind of obsession.
I think the one thing is that I'm a little nervous you would potentially lose your listener on that last one because I think am needs to stand out more. I think you need to go higher in pitch on it.
I'm so jealous, as I often am. It's a kind of obsession.
Much better. Much better. I think Emmanuel heard it too.
Okay.
Okay. Because when you're doing all display, it's very easy for things to run together. So that's why
Yeah.
those pitch changes are really key. Otherwise, your listeners they're gonna struggle. Okay, so by going higher on that am, it separates things better.
Got it. Thanks.
Emmanuel,
Really like that part where he said like, "I'm so jealous." That's a good pitch change.
it's a good pitch change. The pauses I think are effective.
Yeah,
And
I
then
liked it.
it also works because of what you do after it as well, which is like the speed up and things like that. Yeah. Last couple minutes, guys. Is there any section here that you have questions about or that you want to review?
What's Cornelian tattooed from knuckle?
It's a really weird poem to start the day, you know? It's like a woman hitting on a married guy. It's like this. I don't know.
It's a good poem. If you guys ever read the whole thing, it's a good poem.
What's Cornelian?
I don't know.
I searched, I think, like now, like a little
Maybe like a
reddish, purplish.
yeah, it's probably
color.
like a flower, or it might be something. Yeah.
Cornelian tattooed.
It's common in tattoos.
How's it pronounced?
Probably carnelian.
Cornelian.
That's how I would say it.
So it's like kind of one of them ION endings, like million. Does it follow the same rule? Million, Cornelian.
Carnelian. I would say more in. It's a little bit. Million, carnelian. Yeah.
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 Sounds to me it's kind of the
If you want,
same.
yeah. I think the knee sound before it, because like million and billion having no short eyes before, but this has more of that e sound before it.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking more of the ending.
Other things about this poem before we head out today.
Leafy
Like-
veins and blossoms are so beautiful. Very smart.
Leafy vines and blossoms.
Vines and blossoms.
Down here. Pairs
Says
well
so.
again with the jungle. And
Jungle of the indigo. Yeah.
I agree.
Very thorough description.
Yes, this is very true. It's important to be specific with our word choices. Don't settle. Other things?
Translucent.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I pronounce it. Translucent.
Translucent. Can you say that little phrase for me, Emmanuel? I'm almost down to eyelids.
Almost translucent eyelids.
I feel like we could get a lot more breath moving through.
Almost translucent eyelids.
Better. When you say eyelids, try to weaken that L even more a little bit.
Almost translucent eyelids.
Translucent.
Translucent.
Instead of translucent, more translucent.
Translucent.
Translucent eyelids.
Translucent eyelids.
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 We're losing the short eyes, and they're getting a little muffled, like sun versus scent, lids versus lids.
Translucent eyelids.
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 A little bit more breath. Eyelids.
Eyelids.
Better. Almost translucent eyelids.
Almost translucent eyelids. Yeah, it gets mumbly a bit. Almost translucent eyelids.
Better. I just don't want you to work on that little section. It's short eyes. Okay.
Okay.
Other things?
Awesome. Thick wooden plugs
Mm-hmm.
pierce his lobes.
Mm-hmm.
What's that even mean?
It's just like so he has his ears pierced.
Yeah,
so
but
it's like the little. It's
thick.
like especially for like people who have like it sounds like his ears are gauged, because it sounds like he has like those like little round ones that are in his ear. Sometimes they're
Oh,
bigger. That's what it
yeah, I've
sounds
seen
like.
some people on YouTube having that. Yeah, I get what you're saying now.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like pronunciation. Thick
Like
wooden plugs. Thick wooden
wooden.
plugs.
Again,
Wooden.
continue trying to open up those in sounds again. But yeah, thick wooden plugs.
Thick wooden plugs.
Good.
Okay.
Maybe one more thing. David, is there anything you see?
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put it away.
Baby can keep sleeping. So the baby can keep sleeping. I'm just like the A sounds, the E sounds. I'm just working on placement.
I think it's okay. I would maybe just go lower and pitch on the ing at the end. Baby can keep sleeping.
Baby can keep sleeping.
I'm still going lower than you. You're saying baby can keep sleeping, and I'm saying baby can keep sleeping.
Baby can keep Baby can keep Baby can keep sleeping.
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 It's not sleeping. You just weren't sleeping.
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 I'll try to go slow so I'll give you something to kind of shadow. Sleeping.
Sleeping.
It's not sleeping. You're going higher and then low, but I'm just going down from sleep. Sleeping.
Sleeping.
You're saying sleeping, and I'm saying sleeping.
Sleeping.
Better. Yeah. That's a very important concept for American English, is that ability to drop on unstressed syllables, especially at the ends of thought groups, because they will go down, and a lot of us are having a hard time getting to that point.
Yeah, because you think you're going down, but you're not in reality.
Yeah. Let's listen to that on the replay, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys. I do need to run, but hey, thanks for hanging with me.
Thank you. Thanks so much.
Hey, I'll see you guys all later. You guys take care.
Yeah.
Have a good day. Good afternoon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.